I called a meeting with my family to break the news that I'm sick and might not have much time left. My brother and his wife thought it would be a good time to announce their pregnancy and are pissed. Bit of backstory. My brother and I are very close. His wife and I not so much. We've had our fair share of tension. Anyway, I fell sick in the middle of May, but held off getting checked out because of COVID and safety reasons. Eventually, when June started, I decided to go check it out. Turns out it was stage 2 breast cancer. I decided to tell my family 2 days ago since lockdown laws have been lifted, so I invited everyone over, and when I told my brother and his wife, he said, okay, that's fine, because he has news to share too. So our family gathered, and my brother decided to go first. He did ask me, and he announced that his wife is 4 months pregnant. Of course, everyone was overjoyed. After about an hour, they asked about my news, and I knew this was probably the last time in a long while before I had everyone here in person. So I told them, and of course, the initial joyous atmosphere was gone. The rest of the evening was a lot of support for me, and not a lot of attention on my brother and his wife. My brother didn't seem to mind this, as he was quite distraught with my news, but I saw his wife pretty upset and cornered off. So I decided to approach her, and I apologized for the timing of it all. She told me I could have waited a bit and Skyped everyone with the news, as it's just stage 2, and let my brother and her have this moment with their family. I told her I initially called this meeting for this exact reason, and she said she knows, but I knew my news would damper everyone's mood. So I told her she's being ridiculous and I wanted to tell my family in person, since they are my family after all. And she burst in tears and demanded to go home, which my brother obliged to even though he was confused. He promised he would come see me soon since he stays close by to me. Later that evening, I get a message from him asking if I told his wife that she isn't part of the family, and that I deliberately wanted the attention on me, because that's what she's upset about. Also, the next day, my parents called me to check up on me, and my mom mentioned that my brother's wife called yesterday evening, really upset, telling them what I said, and claiming I'm jealous because she's pregnant, and I'm trying to ruin her life. I told my parents what actually happened, and what I really said, and it's caused not only tension between his wife and me, but my parents and her too. And now she's also blaming me for my parents not being her biggest fans. My brother is torn, but has been trying to talk to her, which results in more tears and a strain in their marriage. All this drama is making me think that I should have just called up everyone rather, or just told my brother that his news had to wait, even though that would have been selfish of me. I really wanted my family's support that day, but I'm starting to rethink whether it was worth all this drama and potentially causing further problems. So Reddit, Aida. Edit. Wow, I didn't expect this to get so much lovely feedback, and to think I was slightly scared to post this. Thank you all for the unnerving support, love, and huggies. I read, and still reading, every single comment made, and I really appreciate it. I will most definitely fight through. Thank you all so much. Just wanted to add a few points. When brother told me he had news too, he was really super excited and added it as a just. By the way, I'll announce mine too. He did apologize, and admit afterwards, if he had known what my news was, he would have held off his, because right now what's important is my recovery. He also admitted he wrongfully assumed that my news would automatically be good. I'm usually always the happy, chirpy one. His wife wasn't too fond of this either. Brother's wife also had a miscarriage beginning of the year, which is why this pregnancy, I suppose, was extra special. I'm truly happy for them. I just wish she could understand, like one user pointed out, that this isn't a competition. I don't know why I couldn't tell him over the phone. We are really close, and I knew it would have crushed him. I couldn't steal him away at the gathering either because he was the last to arrive. And when he did, he just quickly mentioned, "Hey OP, mind if I go first?" And I was frozen on the spot, so I said, "Sure." Also, pretty silly on my part. It's hard to explain that feeling where you absolutely frozen, and there's a big lump in your throat that prevents you from speaking. But saying the news in the first place was really difficult to begin with. Edit. Just another point to clarify. I'm not a saint, but my brother does mean a heck of a lot to me. It's exactly why his wife and I cleared the air between us before, because I wouldn't deliberately make his life hell by pissing her off. Hence why, when I saw she was upset, I approached her. And when she told me I could have Skyped, I responded with I wanted to tell them in person since they my family, and they would probably want to be there with me when I broke the news. I never once implied she wasn't a part of it. My brother and parents know this. Update. Sorry this is so late. A lot has been happening the past month since the news came out. And since I've received a tremendous amount of love from Reddit, I thought it would be only fair to let you all know what happened. First and foremost, I've started treatment. Also one of the reasons I couldn't update sooner. Thank you all for your well wishes. I plan on bouncing back as soon as I can. Anyway, I could see that my brother was under a lot of stress, and I finally sat him down to talk about it properly. He showed me a bunch of texts that his wife sent him telling him he is a shitty father for choosing me over his family. She said I was seeking attention and nobody cares about her. And one thing that really got to me was that she told him to choose once and for all, and if he picks me, he loses her and his child, and if he picks her, she doesn't want me in their lives at all. I felt terrible, not only for him, but knowing that I could have prevented all this. I took the time to apologize for putting him in this position, and if I had just pulled him aside soon enough and given him a heads up, he would have truly understood. Brother tells me I shouldn't apologize, because he should have been more considerate. He also mentioned that his wife would have probably still gotten mad at him whether they did or didn't give the news on that day. So I decided I should invite her over for coffee to sort out everything. I spoke to her alone. I asked her about everything. She was very cold and didn't really answer. So I started talking first by apologizing if I made her feel excluded from the family or that her pregnancy was of any less importance. I explained that I should have given them a heads up so we could have avoided what had happened altogether, and that was my fault, and that I was very sorry. But I also mentioned that the way she reacted and went to the extent of lying wasn't okay. She then started crying and vented out about how angry she's been, and that my brother always put me first, and recently they've been going through a rough patch, and when he sided with me, it made her even more upset and feel even more lonely. She admitted she lied to my parents and my brother, saying that she was hoping they would show her more sympathy, and when they were cold to her, she got even more upset. After hours of talking, she apologized for how she acted and has been acting, and she would like if we moved on from this. My brother came later and they both went home. He texted me saying they both spoke for hours and agreed to couples therapy. My parents are currently living with me and helping me out tremendously, but they're not quite happy with my sister-in-law yet. Although they promised to try to work things out, things finally seem to calm down, and let's hope it stays that way. None of this would have been possible without the feedback you all gave me, and I'm indebted to that, so thank you. Edit to add. All of you are so kind, honestly, but I wanted to clarify that I'm no saint nor am I selfless. I know what happened wasn't entirely on me. However, in order to focus solely on my recovery, I can't be stressed out about this whole situation and have all this tension around. Seeing my brother being put in that position, and my SIL, as hurtful as she was, being upset and holding hatred can affect herself and the baby. I did what I could to fix things so that everyone can focus on being healthy and being positive without holding any grudges. I know I sure will. I know my sister-in-law. She can be very stubborn and unreasonable, and if I left things in her hands, I'm 99% sure it would have resulted in much, much worse circumstances than me putting the first hand forward. At least now I can focus on my recovery without any distress or toxicity. I'm human. I felt angry. I felt upset. Yeah, I wanted to give her a piece of my mind. But in doing so isn't helping myself, her, my brother, or my family, only damaging things further. This realization is what prompted me to let it all go and focus on positivity and my mental and physical health. Last edit. I spent all day on Reddit reading every little or big comment made, and honestly I didn't know you could feel so much support from people you never met. You are all the amazing humans. Thank you all for the upvotes, comments, and awards, and I'll still read every single comment, but this will be my final edit. And for the people who asked, I'm 24.